Welcome to Tuesday Truths. I'm Andrew, your host, and today we're diving into the most powerful moments from this week's conversation with this week's amazing, inspiring guest. These are clips, but they're also insights that'll change how you see your own journey. So let's get right into it.
So in the religion as well, there was no sex before marriage. At a young age, I think I was 22, I got married. And there was no real, you can't live together, you can't have sex, you can't really experience what a relationship is like. You just kind of need to know what your values are on paper, basically. They still teach you, don't just jump into a relationship for someone's good looks. They have to have, they have to have spiritual values. They have to have a good personality, all the things that you hear today that are very important in a relationship. So, but the deeper, healthier relating side, that's not necessarily taught, because they're teaching you, and they teach you very quickly, that they call it the threefold cord. They teach you that God is enmeshed in your marriage. So you've got the threefold cord that's really strong, with the rope that's attached or intertwined. There's the husband, there's the wife, and then there's God. So that all resembles one uniting, strong cord. I personally see problems with that, because then it can be used in as a negative as well. For instance, I'll give an example. I think a couple of years ago, my dad said something. He said something so, I remember laughing at the time because it was just so ridiculous, but I saw my mum's reaction, but he was so convinced by it. We were talking about the word adore, and my dad said, "I don't adore anyone but Jehovah." And my mum just looked at him, just a jaw dropped. And then he would go on and explain the meaning of the word, to what it means to adore something. So really on a sacred level, and he would just go on this rant and on this sacred level, how he would adore God more than his own wife. So that's where it pedestalizes, and it creates this ability to triangulate as well. So it creates this unhealthy dynamic as well. But I'm going into other territory. But to answer your question, I got married very young, and those addictive patterns, they followed, because it was there wasn't much chemistry in the marriage as well. And we found that out very quickly. And then the patterns that I hadn't healed, the things that I was trying to avoid, and from childhood, from my mother, they would show up in my wife at the time. I'm not saying anything negative about her as such. It's just those are the patterns. You are attracted to what you don't heal, basically. So that's what I did. I basically chose my mother again in another woman's body, basically. So those patterns played out. I continued to form that. I continued to fuel that resentment for my unhealed mother wound by watching women online and viewing them as objects as well, and just for my own gratification and my own self-soothing. So that carried through, and my ex-wife knew that I had an addiction to it. She knew that I had a problem with it. She just didn't know how much of it I was hiding. So I was hiding it from her in plain sight. I was a really bad liar, but she didn't really want to believe it. So, just stupid things that I was gaslighting, I changed the passcode on my phone, and then I blamed it on the Apple Cloud not glitching. So, no, it's no, just, when I do it, it's fine. And then when you do it, I would just come up with the stupidest and dumbest excuses just to protect what was soothing me, because I wanted that more than the relationship that I was in, because the relationship wasn't right for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that carried through. I was having emotional affairs online as well. So I would be on chatting apps as well. It weren't necessarily dating apps as such, but there were apps where there was just like groups of people and communities of people, and then I would just waste the day sending memes back and forth to these random people, and then one of the people catches your eye, you start talking to them, you build some kind of a connection with them, and one of those connections led to a real life encounter where I ended up making out with them, I ended up kissing them, and that was my rock bottom for me. That was my, what the fuck am I doing? And I held on to that. I held on to that for a couple of weeks, like stewing what I had just done. So that was like, I never thought I would let my fantasy and my coping mechanisms cross over to real life. And it did. So that's where I was like, what the fuck is happening? So that's when I told my ex-wife everything that was going on, because I felt horrible about it. And that's what led to the disfellowshipping or the excommunicating that I mentioned earlier, because it was mentioned to the elders of the church, and that kind of behavior they don't tolerate, they don't accept, even though most of them are doing the exact same thing. They just don't talk about it. But we can leave that for another time. But there's a lot of hypocrisy in it as well. The system is very similar to a patriarchal system where it benefits the men. When a man watches porn, it's not necessarily viewed as cheating. Whereas you ask the person who's been cheated on, what is cheating to you? That's a little bit irrelevant. They don't view it as seriously because most of them are doing it. So it's like the judge that recently, there was a female judge that let 5 hockey players accused of sexual assault, let them off free. And what I can really put that down to is anyone, the judicial system or anything like that, anyone that does that either doesn't have a daughter themselves or is guilty of that kind of behavior to some degree. And that's where it comes back to when it comes to this as well, is that it wasn't viewed as seriously because they didn't want to call themselves out when it came to it either. I knew several men. Most of the men that I knew had watched porn either regularly or at some point, or were still continuing to. So they were all doing it, and that's what that comment was all about. So, but that behavior wasn't tolerated.
But you were deemed as the bad influence on the church?
Yes, because I stood up and admitted it. So,
got you.
Whereas most of them were doing it in secret, or they weren't talking about it, or it was just very quickly dismissed. But because it was repeated, they knew I had a continual problem, then they're just like, okay, it's getting to a point now where you could potentially contaminate the church and you haven't learnt your lesson. So we're gonna cast you out, basically. So we're gonna cast you out, and the only way for you to come back into that is you need to come back regularly, but you're not allowed to, you need to come back, you need to sit in the back of the hall, isolated from everyone else, no one's allowed to talk to you, and you need to show your repentance by sitting basically in the little shame section until we choose when you're ready to come back. So my mission is to help as many men as I can to be safe for themselves, to be safe for women, to be safe for society. And what that looks like is I make anti-misogynistic content, predominantly on Instagram. So it's content that challenges different kind of belief systems that are founded around patriarchy or around entitlement, around religion, all those kind of things that intertwine. So my mission is to show people who I am, what I think. If they resonate with that and it helps challenge their belief systems, then they can stick around and learn a little bit more, learn a bit more about what I've learnt as well, and just help if they're a little bit curious, if they feel a little bit lost, which a lot of men are, then they're free to stick around. If not, then they're not quite ready for it.
Yeah. So if somebody who was listening came to your social media platform, what would they find, and what would they feel, and do you think they would see in their eyes?
In my profile description, it's basically what I say is I call out the manosphere joke. And what that looks like, if you're unfamiliar with the manosphere, it's essentially a movement that's just recently come up in the last decade. That's basically, it's a kickback to feminism. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a group of men that are not happy with the feminist movement. They've interpreted it their own way, and they're fighting against it with using men's rights or men's mental health, which men's mental health is very important, but I often find that they can use that as a crutch, or they use it as a way to overshadow other important issues, rather than having them as two separate issues that are just as important as each other. So they'll find a little bit, sometimes a lot of it is humor based, sometimes I'll be reacting or responding to a video that is just absolutely ridiculous, or sometimes even dangerous, the content that's being posted. So I like to try and level it out and set it straight based on my viewpoints, because I do understand where a lot of these men are coming from based on my own past and my own experience. So it varies from that. Sometimes it varies to some triggering statements, which I'm in the process of refining. And when I say triggering statements, I'll say something that's more of a blanket statement, which that's the part that I'm refining at the moment. It's a statement that will get men, or sometimes women, but predominantly men, it'll get them engaging with the content. And that, I find, is an opportunity for them to read through the comments and have other people engage in with them. And they slowly start to learn. They can either come at it from a place of understanding, or they can come at it from a place of projection. So there's that kind of content, which I'm kind of leaning away from, because blanket statements or using that can often be a lazy way of producing the content, rather than going in a little bit deeper, which I'm capable of doing. So I'm more directing it into perhaps something a little bit more deeper, a little bit more engaging for the audience, and a little bit more challenging for their belief systems as well. So when they look up to someone like Andrew Tate, they can see somebody challenging it from a different perspective, and then it gives people the option to go, is there a point here? Or no, I'm not ready to listen to that point. I like the former way of thinking, because that suits me and that works for me.
What you just witnessed is only a snippet of our amazing conversation this week. This is what Leading Our Own Way is all about. Real stories, real transformation. If you're watching this before Wednesday, part 1 dropped yesterday and part 2 releases tomorrow. But if you're already here after Wednesday, all parts are available now. Head to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts and every other major platform and look for the numbers on the bottom left-hand corner of the episode's covers to start with part 1. Trust me, you don't want to miss this incredible journey.